My name's Kyle Kaplan. I am the Buddhist and Mindfulness Spiritual Advisor at Northeastern University's Center for Spirituality, Dialogue, and Service, and I also help facilitate the Northeastern University's Buddhist Group. Buddhism is an ancient religion that has many different expressions, many different philosophies, schools of thought. It started 2,600 years ago in ancient India by a prince named Siddhartha Gautama. Siddhartha Gautama had everything he could ever hope for: beautiful family, a land that he ruled over, wonderful palaces, and hadn't known any sort of dissatisfaction. Siddhartha Gautama left the palace walls and discovered four things he had never seen before. He discovered old age, sickness, and death. He saw from these three things that suffering was inevitable. Everyone will experience suffering in their lives. The fourth thing he saw was a spiritual seeker who was trying to transcend these elements of suffering that are inherent in everyone's life. And he dedicated himself to pursuing this truth. How do you transcend suffering? How do you get beyond suffering? He came to four insights, what are known as the Four Noble Truths. The first is that suffering exists. No matter who you are, no matter where you are, there's suffering. Suffering can be anything from the most trivial pain, discomfort, maybe your cell phone screen cracks, maybe you have some friction with a friend, maybe you're just uncomfortable sitting in a chair. All these little micro moments of what might be termed dissatisfaction. The second insight he had was that this experience of dissatisfaction comes about as a result of craving. Comes about because we project certain expectations onto the world. We want the world to conform to an ideal that we hold. And when the world and our ideal are not the same, when they do not align, then there's the experience of suffering. And he found that the release of this suffering, the cessation of this suffering, comes about when we can let go of our craving. And the way he prescribed us to do this is through the Eightfold Noble Path. The Eightfold Noble Path cultivates ethics, our bodily conduct, how we operate in the world. It cultivates concentration, the ability to center the mind. And it cultivates wisdom, the ability to see the world as it is. Namely, that it is impermanent, always changing, that this impermanence leads to suffering, and that at the essence of every phenomena, there is no core. Everything cannot be essentialized. Whatever we perceive something is, there's always a different way to perceive it, always something more that's there. So that's the basis of Buddhism. Later on, there's different developments in Buddhist schools. There emerged what's known as the Mahayana school, the great vehicle, as well as the Vajrayana school. One key concept to these later expressions of Buddhist practice is that of the Bodhisattva. With the Bodhisattva, which can be translated as a Buddha being or a Buddha in becoming, the Bodhisattva's main objective is not to release themselves from suffering, but to release all other beings from suffering. So within Buddhism, we place primary importance on compassion, on working towards the good and the welfare and the benefit of all other sentient beings, humans, animals, all beings on this planet. For the Northeastern University's Buddhist Group, during our meetings, we gather, we share a question. It can be kind of lighthearted, sometimes it's a bit deeper. We go around, share our names, and then we sit. We meditate. And as we meditate, we cultivate concentration and help generate insight through different practices within different Buddhist traditions, including Zen, as well as Theravadan practices. After our meditation, there's a short teaching, a Dharma talk on a particular topic related to some element of Buddhist thought, be it a scripture or some sort of principle. It might be a broader topic of life in general that we then relate back to Buddhist thought. Then after that, we usually break into smaller groups and discuss reflections on that day's Dharma talk. And then we reconvene and we share as a group any insights or any new understandings we came to within our smaller group. During this, we also have snacks, we have jokes. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of familiar faces. People come back again and again. So it's a really warm, welcoming community.